Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Carshénah with versefilmsproductions, and I've got some great movies for you this week. That's right, 3 great horror films that you should be watching on Netflix. Tuning in right now to watch these 3 horror films that I have got planned for you for the weekend. So grab your popcorn, grab your soda, grab your candy, and let's get started.
Don't touch me, okay?
Hey, sir.
Was ist denn los?
Ladies and gentlemen.
As you can see, we have control of the plane.
Let's go ahead and get started with Blood Red Sky. Now, Blood Red Sky is on Netflix and it is streaming right now, so go on over and check it out. Let me just go ahead and read you the synopsis, so that way you don't have to worry about reading the synopsis or watching the trailer when you get there. I've already covered that basis for you. So Blood Red Sky, it just came out over this past summer in 2021, and it is amazing. Let me just say that. Here's the synopsis. When a group of terrorists hijacks an overnight transatlantic flight, a mysteriously ill woman must unleash a monstrous secret to protect her young son. Ooh. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, this is what you call devotion between mother and child. This is listed under the action and adventure. It is German, but it is dubbed for you English speakers out there. It is dubbed so that way you don't have to worry about reading and watching. Well, there are some things that you do have to read they have translated on the bottom, but for the captioning, but it's all good. The rest of it is in English. This was director Peter Thorwarth. It's 2 hours and 3 minutes of carnage. And let me just tell you, the carnage is plentiful, the carnage is real, and the carnage is actually out of survival. Let's put it that way. It's out of survival. Of course, if you're going to be on a plane and someone's going to hijack the plane, you want to live, right? You want to do whatever they want. You want to give them your jewelry. You want to give them your Birkin bags. You want to give them whatever they need. If they need curly hair, to sell on the black market, I don't know. I don't care. You will do whatever it takes to survive in the air. And this is what she does. Now, the one thing that I do love about this film is not only is this a mother trying to protect her child, it's the child trying to protect his mother. I'm not going to spoil everything. I'm not going to give everything away, but let's just say that bond is very tight, and the tightness of that bond just lets you know that he understands. She has a little son, that he understands what she's going through and what she's had to struggle up until this point. He's very proud of her because she's going over to New York where she's going to have this blood transfusion to take away the bad blood, is what he calls it. But he understands the sacrifice and all the things that she's done. And just a little bit of backstory, not to spoil it, but just a little bit of backstory. She's had this problem, vampiric. She's had this vampiric problem ever since her and her husband, they went like on a date. They were like at the beach and they went hiking, and then all of a sudden it started to snow. Go figure, German black forest, right? Starts to snow. And the car doesn't work. She has a baby. So at this moment in time, you see the opening sequence is that there's a baby involved. So you know that it's him. And then, jump start to when the movie really starts to get good, we see that the main character, his name is Elias. He is about 10 years old or so. And so for a 10-year-old to really have understood what his mother has sacrificed for him really shows you the devotion that he has for his mom and the devotion that she has for her son. Of course, it's parent and child, it's mother and son, and she's doing everything she can to live a normal life with him. So go check out Blood Red Sky right now on Netflix. I kid you not, it is awesome. Now, one of the main villains, I want to say he can play the Joker like any time of the week. Like seriously, I want to see him cast for the Joker. I know I've seen him in some other films. I can't recall his name right now because it is a foreign film and there's a lot of foreign names, and I just so ooh, that actor. Yes, I've seen you in something Game of Thrones or something something. But anyway, he is awesome. He became one of my favorites just as a crazed maniac of a character. But hey, he's sufficient. He gets the job done. He knows his place. He knows that he's a crazed maniac. So, and he's there to hijack for money. So he does what he's got to do. Then you also have some sympathetic hijackers, which, yes, they're like, no, don't shoot mother and child. No, don't shoot the pregnant lady. Don't shoot the old people. Whatever. I mean, if you're there for the job, you tell the people what they have to do, put their hands up in front, make sure they don't say anything, then cool, you out, peace out, right? But the crazy one, the Joker one, like, he don't care. Like, he's like, you put your hands up there, I'm gonna shoot your hands off. And that's what I'm talking about. So there's like a difference in hierarchy of villain in this movie. And then you also have sort of the knight character, the trope of there's a guy that's watching, he's observing, and he wants to do good. He wants to save the woman until he realizes, oh no, she got this on her own. I'm just a side piece in this sort of story. So it takes a lot for people to actually understand and to actually get that she's helping the situation. I mean, there's a Carnage and Trail of Blood, so I don't know when they really did start to trust her, but they do trust her and they do sort of give her a credence, give her a way out of the situation to let her do what she has to do, and it is phenomenal. It's also sort of a thriller in the beginning, like the first, I would say, 4 to 6 minutes of the story. You don't know, ooh, is this what's gonna happen? Is this what's going on? Like, who's who? And you go through the rigmarole of, oh, it's a transatlantic flight. So there's always like the set pieces of the good person, the bad person, and what situation they're into. Well, the first 6 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. Then they have a series of flashbacks, and it just makes it a little bit better. It's very well shot. The acting is very well done, even by the little boy, even by the dubbed. There are some moments where I'm just like, it's cringeworthy because I'm like, oh my God, you are an annoying child. Annoying child. Annoying child. But he actually does okay, and I'm actually proud of him. Because I think the direction of which they gave him, as far as like, you do what you have to do to survive, is pretty good for a 10-year-old. And so I give him props for that. But anyway, go check out Blood Red Sky. It's got everything that you're looking for: mystery, thriller, action, all of those goodies, and a lot of vampire teeth. That's right. So go check out Blood Red Sky. Like I said, it came out 2021, this past summer, and it was number 1 on Netflix for a while. Of course, as you know, it's going through the cycle, but click on that horror category and then check out Blood Red Sky. You will not be disappointed. Next on the list of my top 3 Netflix streaming horror films that you should be watching right now is No One Gets Out Alive. I mean, the title is befitting that no one gets out alive. It's like, I don't know if you listen to Justin Bieber, because I don't, but you've heard the song Never Say Never. Yeah, never say never, but no one gets out alive. I don't know why I came with that reference, but just work with me. Anyway, let me go ahead and go over the synopsis and let you know, so that way you don't have to worry about it. You can just listen in, see if this is something you want to watch, and we're going to go in right now. So No One Gets Out Alive, done in 2021. It just came out this past fall. Desperate and without documentation, a woman from Mexico, moves into a rundown Cleveland boarding house. First of all, if that's the worst place you can go for Mexico, that's the worst place you can go for Mexico. Then the unsettling cries and eerie visions begin. Now, this movie is based on supposedly a best-selling novel Books by Adam Neville. The director is Santiago Mangini, and it's 1 hour and 27 minutes. That's right. So 1 hour and 27 minutes for them to compact this best-selling novel horror film for you to watch. And they did a pretty good job. I mean, the film in itself is gritty, it's grimy, it's dirty, it's Cleveland, it's Ohio. Cleveland does not rock in this film because it's showing you what happens when you have no money. It shows you what happened when you have really no family, no familia, no one. And that's, and it's scary in itself, especially being an undocumented person, trying to, overcome, trying to come to the country, trying to make your way as you want to with a new life, make your way, the way that you want to, with a brand new name, brand new, social security number, brand new everything. This film has it all. It does give you sort of that sort of political thing where it's like, hey, this is a story about a Mexican woman who struggles, who does what she has to do to survive in America. Well, that's like anyone in America, except for her situation is times 10 because she has no papers, no documents, but yet she's somehow able to find a job. She's somehow able to go out for drinks. Somehow she's able to, have a cell phone that's still working, which I know that bill calling in and out from Mexico back to the United States. I know that trouble. I know that struggle. That struggle is real when you're trying to call overseas, and it is a big bill. But anyway, regardless of the tiny little things, but it does happen. And it does go to show you that in this country, we are really welcoming. And so that's the political stuff out the way. Welcoming to the point where you're not going to get the best of jobs. You're not going to be the CEO of, Netflix. But you are going to have some type of worker bee job. And so we find this young woman. She's sort of like in this factory. She's doing like sewing, like sort of like back in the 1940s where you had like a row and sea of women who were just with their Singer sewing machines. And, she finds this job, and of course she tried to finagles it a little bit. She's got this job. She's in it for at least a week. And of course the boss is like, I need your ID. I need your papers. And she's like, yeah, sure. Well, there's a woman that befriends her, another foreigner that befriends her of an African background. And she's like, don't worry, I'll give you some papers. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, basically, who's basically like the McLovin of guys who can get you a fake ID. Well, unfortunately, this woman befriends her, but then there's also some other things that she's trying to navigate as well. She's trying to navigate just living. She just finished coming to this country with really nothing, but somehow she had one family person, her Uncle Beto. He's like, I was able to come across. I was able to find a life for myself. I'm married, I have wealth. I've got a son. We're going to the college admissions walk around, weekend. So if I can do it, you can do it. And the only way that he knows her is that she's literally the first cousin or the second cousin, something of that nature. Well, anyway, her mom is his cousin. And so that's the only way that he was able to contact her. He's never seen her. He's never been in contact really with her, only just a name. I know if I was dropped off in a foreign country, I would doggone make sure that I try to find somebody's cousin. I don't care if it was an ex-boyfriend. I don't care if it was an ex-cousin, twice removed. Someone has a connection somewhere. I need to find them so they can help me. And this is what she does, and kudos to her. Now, the living house, of course, she's needing these documents. She's needing documentation. She's needing it. Well, she's actually able to get to this sort of boarding house, a sort of like old style boarding house that is for women only. You're thinking, oh, it must be like a madam or some woman that's holding the... No, it's a sleazy guy who, of course, puts the ad out that says women only. Now, if it says women only you need to run. First of all, if it's not a co-ed or, you know, the house looks creepy in itself, you need to run. Find a homeless shelter, find a shelter, find some way to sleep on some safe streets and then do what you got to do. But she doesn't, and this room is really cheap. It's phenomenally cheap, but you know, she has the money saved up from the job, obviously by cash. He asked her, of course, those sort of essential I'm trying to find out where you are questions, like, well, where are you from? She's like, I'm from the South. He's like, how far south? Like, he already knows. Like, he's just playing with it. He's like, well, how far south? She's like, just south of here. Don't worry about how far south. Like, I don't care. I could have been 2 zip codes down. But he's trying to find those and answer those questions of, well, how far south? Well, what gets her by is that she does speak English, and her English is very well done. So he's like, okay, fine, great. Now it's only her and a second tenant, and the second tenant, you know, sort of like a mealy mouth. She doesn't say anything. She's kind of like, you know, all over the place. And he's like, don't worry about her. Well, you know, a lot of things start to happen. She's starting to see these visions. She's starting to hear things. And she's also a snooper. For a person who really is like in this country that doesn't have documentation, who needs to get an ID and that needs to be careful, she likes to snoop a lot. Like, seriously, she likes to go into people's items. She likes to ask questions. I mean, she's curious, sure, true enough. But she likes to snoop around, and you know, at any time this sleazeball could have called the cops on her. She didn't think about that. At any time she could have been, you know, arrested just for, you know, making her boss mad because she didn't do the sewing, you know, of the day right. Anything could have happened. You know, she has sort of a short fuse, but she doesn't care about all that. And to me, I felt like in this film, it really shows you that there's a lot of people like that. You know, they're like, hey, I just got here. I'm sort of getting by, but I don't care. I'm still me. I'm still using my personality. I am still doing what I got to do. The only unfortunate thing is, yep, you guessed it, she loses her job, and then the mayhem ensues. So she tries to get her money back, her deposit from the sleazy guy, and he turns out not to be so sleazy. I mean, he's sleazy, but he's not like pimp open collar with a gold medallion sleazy. I mean, he's just got a gold medallion with it buttoned up. You know what I mean? That type of sleazy. Like, he hasn't opened up the collar just yet, so he's not that bad. But you know, he's like, I'll get you the money, whatever. Her uncle Beto was like, hey, I got a job for you, but I really need to get your ID. And she's like, yeah, okay. So she tries to upgrade. The friend that she thought was a friend turned out not to be the friend. So she really is SOL. Like, she is so out of luck that she can't even fathom. And it's starting to get cold. That's another thing. The elements in Cleveland, Ohio, I don't know where you are right now watching this, but it's cold. Like, when it's cold, I mean, and it's dirty and grimy, that's like nasty cold. It's not like, oh, look at me, I'm in a winter wonderland, Mariah Carey. No, it is dirty and cold. It's like a Grinchmas, and it really is a bad thing. But she survives. The survival of the fittest and survival in this film is exactly what she is. She is desperate, and in desperate times really truly calls for desperate measures. So go check out No One Gets Out Alive. You won't be disappointed. The story is very well done. The camera is, I mean, the cinematography is great. Just for that, the cinematography is great. It's not so much of jump scares in this film. There are some, you know, some illusion scares, you know, like you pull back the curtain and, you know, there's something there. But it's not so much as jump scares. It's not so much as, ooh, I'm going to find something underneath the floorboards, maybe, because they actually show you what's underneath the floorboards, but it's not that scary. Like, it's like, oh, I see what's happening here. But anyway, go check out No One Gets Out Alive. Go check it out. Next up is His House, streaming on Netflix, and this was the year 2020. This, I thought, was very well done for an independent movie. It's a foreign film as well, and it was shot so beautifully. Like, I thought, wow, I really, there was a good job for this, and the situations that they put the two main characters in, actually did a really good job. So let me go ahead and give that rundown for you. Here's the synopsis. As a young couple from war-torn South Sudan seeks asylum, ooh, look at that alliteration, and a fresh start in England, they're tormented by a sinister force living in their new home. Now, the director is Remy Weeks. Now, this is, I think, was their debut for Remy. So Remy Weeks, kudos to you, independent movie. It's 1 hour and 33 minutes. The actress Womani Mosaku can currently be seen in the new Marvel series Loki on Disney+. So go check it out, and also go check out Disney Plus for Loki. Hands down, the best one. But go ahead and check that out. But anyway, his house, as you can tell by the synopsis, so you have these two main characters from war-torn South Sudan. So basically, South Sudan is having a civil war. And basically, I mean, you see like the grittiness of war. People are being shot. People are basically leaving where they know as their home, trying to fight and claw their way for asylum into the next best place that they can. Well, this couple, they finally find asylum in England. That's right, merry old England. Here's looking at you, Little Britain. And they're actually doing a really good job because they were in sort of this refugee house. You know, you put in your application, you know, say, hey, we're asylum seekers. You have to go through that rigmarole. And then they finally get called up and they have this interview. And of course, the English, being as British as they can be, they're like, listen, you ain't citizens yet. By the grace of the Queen, we are allowing you to be here. So do what we say, follow the rules, and then you can go on your merry little way. But in a very nice sort of, Sherlockian way, like, oh, but yes, here you go. I mean, the British really know how to do the Southern bless your heart very well, but sort of like in a upstart, sort of staunch, sort of like, oh, bless your heart, you know, that type of deal. So they're trying to let these people know, hey, you're not a citizen yet, so you really have to follow the rules. And by the good graces of the Queen, you are here. But in the meantime, we have a house for you. The house is by no means what they call the projects over here in the United States. No, let's be real, it is the projects. It's the projects of England. I try to be nice about it, but no, it really is the projects of England. And they get there, and the guy tries to struggle to open up the door, and it won't open up. Then they get there, it looks like rats have been infesting it. I mean, it's just a bad situation. But what are you going to do? Once again, a foreigner has entered into a new country. It's like a new player has entered the realm. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to try to do the best that you can to survive the new realm, right? Exactly. So they only have very little bit to eat. They don't even have furniture. They don't have very much, whatever was supplied in this house. And then all of a sudden, the main character starts to see visions. He calls it a witch. He starts to see visions of the past, visions of things of maybe what happened in that house before them. Now, these visions really manifest into some type of entity that really overtakes him. And that entity sort of messes with his mind. Same thing that it messes with her mind.
We are not going back. There is no witch. Get out!
What is that?
Rats.
Rats did this.
You went outside. This is my house! This is my house! This is my house!
Well, we also find out self-preservation, one more time, that self-preservation prevails once again in these 3 Netflix movies. Because it is survival of the fittest. It is survival at any cost. And when they try to survive, they're doing any and everything that they can. Well, he tries to fit in. He tries to sort of, I guess, dress more British. You know, he goes to the store and he has like this little collared shirt and he's all like, oh, look at me, I'm cool. At the same time, he's having these visions and he's cutting himself and he's like learning that something sinister happened on their way to be asylum seekers in England. Now, you as the audience members don't know the true meaning of how they got to Sudan. You see little glimpses, you see like little things happening, you know, so these flashbacks. And you get to see the brutality of what war can do to a country of people who's been in that situation almost all of their lives. But now we see the remnants of war really manifest. And that's a really good, I like that. The remnants of war really manifest in their lives. Now, in these remnants, you start to see people from the past, people from where they've seen them before, like in their villages and things of that nature. And they know for certain that these people have already died, but yet they're talking to them, they're walking with them, and they're starting to see other people from other places and other war-torn places that are starting to talk with them as well. So once again, His House, go check it out. One of the best independent films out there right now that does show what happens during war, after war, and what happens when you are left with no choice but to do what you have to do. Now, with that being said, what they have to do, there are some elements where there are some jump scares, there are some things where you're like, but there are also some things that will make you cry because there's a lot of death of children in this film, and the death of a child is always going to be bittersweet, always going to be, you know, something that's sort of a touchy subject, but the way that the children die or have died is another show of how gritty and how harsh war can be. But in the grand scheme of things, if you want blood and carnage, this is the film for you. So go check out His House right there on Netflix. You won't be disappointed, and I assure you, you will not want to leave your own house. Thanks guys so much for watching my 3 best movies on Netflix streaming right now. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Blood Red Sky, No One Gets Out Alive, and His House right there on Netflix. You have nothing to worry about. So grab your popcorn, your soda, and your candy, like I said in the beginning, and go watch some great films tonight, tomorrow, or sometime over the weekend. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber. I can't wait to blow up. I know I'm a small channel, but hey, small things come in big packages. So make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. And I can't wait to see you on the next one. Thanks guys so much for watching. Next week, we're going to try to do Roku. We've done Tubi, we've done Netflix, so Roku, we're coming after you. And then Peacock, I see you, Peacock. All right, take care, guys. Enjoy.